she mentioned that the hypocrisy of what I stated, but you don't feel that a group of women putting your head and pouring water over you is a form of some type of abuse, that even if you felt you needed it,
no,
because that's not abuse.
It was with consent.
Oh, okay, so you told them, hey, come on, pour water on me.
That yes, if I need to have my head cooled off, and no, they weren't pouring in my face, they were cooling my head.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
The operative word would be consent. As long as consent is present, we good.
Oh, so if I accepted my mother whooping my behind because I knew I did wrong, that changes it now to something decent and good.
If you have the ability to consent.
Okay, now notice when you mentioned that, I said clearly that I earned every one of those whoopings. And when I was getting a whooping, I understood why. And I understood that was the consequence of the act that I decided to participate, knowing my mother's rules, knowing my mother's standards, and I disrespected those standards openly and willingly, with the mind to know because I was always very intelligent. I knew what I was doing. So, now let's leave that, because I just want to see your opinion on the differences. So now I understand what you're saying. You're saying if the child agrees, or if the young person agrees that they deserve to be disciplined, no, that's not it.
If they consent to you hitting them, they say yes.
What is consent? Is it consent agreement?
Consent says, I give you permission to do what you're doing. I'm saying, yes, I am in agreement that we are going to engage in this activity, whatever it is. But consent you just should, is the agreement. If the child says, yes, I'll take this whooping because I know I deserve it. But most children are going to say, no, please don't hit me. Please don't hurt me. You are supposed to care for me, guide me, and protect me. Please don't.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
Woman would too.
If you told those women that night that no, you can't pour water on me, and they still chose to do it, they would have been abusive to you.
Absolutely, they would have did something against my consent.
Now, what if they didn't calm you down? What do you think have been the results of that night?
I probably would have had a big argument with my husband.
Okay. Now, all I want us to see is something based on a perception of individuals, or an individual has now changed the energy of an act by another perception that would have been torture. Because if you look up the term waterboarding, it's a form of torture where your head is poured cold water on in order to stimulate a sensation of shock and take you out of your anger or out of your time of emotional state. Whatever it might be is irrelevant. The act itself is based on doing something as a form of discipline to the person who is out of order. And you're saying that the agreement of it is what makes it right. And I'll take that. I'll take that. Now I also
let Brother Mind finish, and then I want to read something from one of the viewers, Tanika Hill. But Brother Mind, you go ahead and finish, and then I want to read something from one of the viewers. Hold your question, Akamaye, till he finish. Then I want to read what one of the viewers is pointing out, and then we're going to come back to you, and then Osa will direct us in what we're getting ready to do next. But we're going to have you ask your question because you and Brother Mine, y'all got that little parlay going on. I like that. Brother Mine, please finish, and let me get to Tanika Hill, and then we'll get back to Akamaye. Then we're going to get right back to Osa. Okay.
Now, as I was listening attentively to all you ladies, many things were coming up in my head, and many points that I wanted to keep my mouth shut and let everybody finish. Now, I noticed the Queen mentioned love, and how is abuse love, and how can we call that love? and so on and so forth. And also that if we teach children, don't do to others as you would want to do to yourself, which, by the way, we've been saying for a very long time, because I've heard that as a child. My mother told me that her parents told her as a child, do unto others as you would want to do unto yourself. So this is not something that's never been initiated or never been told to anybody. Now, whether or not they were following it, that's not my point. My point is we've heard that saying for a long time, before my time and probably before all of y'all time in this room right now. Now, I'm going to bring up the point that I can't help it. As Mind Ascension, I love source and historical reference. We need to understand that one of the things that made us so susceptible to oppression and to our own slavery was the fact that we accepted everyone with love. If we read the journals of Columbus, the first letter he writes to the Queen of England is how easy it will be to subjugate this people because they are so open and they are so willing to accept us without question. So now we also talk about what is love abuse, and so on and so forth. Now, anybody that follows me, they understand that love word, even if we go back, because I can do the historical aspect. Even if we go back to the written principles of our ancient ancestors, if we go back to the papyruses, if we go back to the laws, there was no love in these laws. The foundation of every relationship in every empire was respect. Not needing to just love someone because they're there or because they're human, or let's just love everybody and love is going to change everything, because that's something that has been said today and in the last 10, 20, ever since the hippie movement. And to be honest with you, there's no historical precedent that shows that any group of people, any nation, any region, any land, any empire, any kingdom, any village has been protected because they chose to bow down or because they chose to give gifts, which, by the way, they did to Columbus. They chose to give gifts of love, and that has stopped their genocide or has stopped their oppression. I personally, by definition, on top of, look at love as a very arbitrary word. One thing I say is respect for all, but love is for the worthy. And in my personal opinion, there's many of our own and people outside of ourselves who do not deserve this unconditional love or this need to love. Now, I will respect anybody. I could respect a Nazi, and I've said this millions of times. A lot of people have heard me say this, and they look at me weird when I say it. I say I respect a Nazi. And the reason why I say I respect a Nazi is because he has the same foundational self-preservation as I do. He wants his white children to know white fake history. He wants his white children to marry white women. He wants his white children to have white preservation. And I respect that. So I think these terms, if we, teach our children to, do unto others as they do unto themselves, that's nothing new. We've been hearing that for a very long time. I can't even go into how far that goes back, which I believe if I'm, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe, doesn't that come from the Bible? Do unto others as you would do unto you?
Yes, that's part.
That's the Bible, right?
That's in the Torah.
Oh, that's even older. So what I'm doing is I'm making correlations. We've been saying these sayings for centuries. As a people, we've been practicing brotherly love around the globe for centuries. We've taught generations of child to child to child before our colonization of respect for everybody, love everybody, which is why we were always so easily infiltrated. So when I hear these terms still being used as a form of solution, the integrity in myself as a man must say something in a form of contrary, because honestly, there is nothing. There is no love. As a matter of fact, our marriages Our marriages in our culture was not based on love. It was based on respect of the families. Even to this day, I recently went to an African wedding, maybe a year ago now, and it's nothing like, oh my God, it's nothing like a European wedding. Just like the sister said, they get on their knees in front of each group of elders that are the parents. It's actually very interesting because it's almost like the wedding is for the two sets of parents. It's like the wedding is not even for the children. The wedding is actually for the parents because they have to ask each set of parent for permission and so on and so forth. Now, I say that to say that I think this love thing and love everybody or slash, do unto other stuff. I get it. I completely understand it. But I think we can all say for a fact, we've all been taught that past our own generations, past that generation. And if the results is still what we see today, combined to what we seen in the early 1900s, the 1800s, and so on and so forth, and all of the colonization of our own continent, after practicing that, I think there needs to be, in my opinion, a revamping, a new form of structure instead of treat you how I treat myself and this and that. Because let's be honest, some of us enjoy drama.
Yes.
Some of us enjoy conflict. I know myself, I invite debate and I invite criticism. Some people through their individual perspective and perception would say that I enjoy problems or I enjoy drama. So if that is my nature as the man I am, and then I say, well, I'm gonna treat these people as I treat myself. Hey, nigga, what the fuck is your problem? Guess what? I want that drama. So that's how I would treat myself. I would test myself and compete with myself either intellectually or physically competitively, which is all the same form of competition, just different degrees of energy. So not everybody is thinking in a way of, well, I love myself and I kiss myself and I pamper myself, so I have to treat this person as I treat myself. Some people put themselves through a form of self-torture in order to gain determination. I know I do it to myself. As these ladies know, when we've had our own separate interviews, I kick myself in my own ass constantly to be a better teacher, to be a better scholar. I got just today, I was almost late for this and I was ready to kick my own ass because that gives me the determination to be precise and to stand on my square as a man, because I am my own disciplinarian. And just like you said earlier, the same sister, how there should be a group of men who are ready to be like, hey, brother. And Queen Nettie, didn't we talk about this before?
Yes.
How that group of men should be waiting outside that man's door that's ready to abandon his family and stop him by any means necessary. Now, I think these things are conflicting and contradictory to the things that we think is so best for the children. Boys should be trained a different way from girls, but both in which, by the way, leads to another thing I didn't get a chance to get into. In African society, the girls and the boys were raised separately. They were raised differently. They had different rites of passage. They had different responsibilities. And when they came together by puberty and by teenagers, they knew how to cater to each other's differences because of that separation. They were not both taught the same exact aspect to life. The man was taught his responsibility as a young man, husband, protector, provider, and all of the above. The woman or the child girl was taught the responsibility of a nurturer, a sustainer, a homemaker, and so, all of the above. And when they came together, there was no real conflict because all I knew how to do was what men did. And all she knew how to do was what women did. So the only thing left to do is compliment each other. Now we're teaching, well, if you feel like a girl, then you could be a girl too. Now we're teaching, hey, well, if my daughter wants to join boxing club and she wants to box up and all of this stuff, then that's fine. But then simultaneously, what are we teaching the observer? If your daughter is in MMA and she's busting some females behind as a sport, and then I get into conflict with her, guess what? I kind of feel justified because she's a professional fighter. So now I don't look at her as a cherishment of a woman in the feminine energy as I should look at her. Because at one time, if we study John Henry Clark and all the old school, Dr. Ben and all of them, they'll tell you at one time, every single woman you saw was looked at as your sister, your mother, or your wife, period. Hands down. Every time you saw a woman, that's my sister. If she was young, she was your sister. If she was older, she was your mother. You see? But now we don't have that anymore because we've adopted this thing where, okay, we're all exactly equal. Well, if I'm exactly equal to a woman, then what stops my behavior that I would conflict upon a man to a woman? Because she's not to be cherished anymore because I'm not to be cherished. So if I'm not to be cherished and we're equal, then guess what? If you get out of line or you talk to me the way a man talks to me, I'm gonna invite you outside the same way I invited men outside. And this goes all the way back because even when we go to ancient times, before pre-colonial times, the men would settle their differences by picking their best warriors out of each side. And it was only those two warriors who fought for each side. This is where competitions came from. And then when that warrior died or that warrior lost, both kingdoms came together to create one empire, and they adopted both traditions and both customs from each side. This is stuff that we practiced for a very, 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 very long time before Europeans. So all I'm saying to say is, I hear these terms a lot as a form of solution about the love thing, about treat others how you want to be treated, but these aren't new. These aren't new templates. These aren't new blueprints. These are actually very old and been told to us for a very long time. And me personally, I like to go by results. Anytime somebody comes to me for a consultation or comes to me for any advice or direction, I tell them, don't come back to me until you got results. If you don't got results, then come back to me and I'll give you something better. And if they get results, then I think I have the right to claim what I am due to those multiple results that have accumulated with those multiple people. So if we are in 2020 now, going on 21, and we have heard treat each other as we treat ourselves from the Bible, from Christians, from grandma, from granddad, from big mama, from auntie, going all the way to the 1900s, the 1800s, the 1700s. But yet today we have by far, well, maybe it was all secret, I don't know, but we have by what's out there for us to see, that we don't have to go into a secret place for people to tell us. What we have available for us to actually see and record ourselves, by far, today we have more domestic abuse and more mistreatment of women by men than we had at a time of our great grandfathers. Now, once again, if it was all secret, then guess what? I can't know because I couldn't find the secrets. Okay. But at the end of the day, the stuff that is available in abundance, in great abundance, that's the only thing I can go by. And what's available in great abundance is the fact of the matter that the generations that grew up with strong fathers, call them abusive if you want to, with strong fathers, that their presence alone will straighten up that child. Soon as the father walk in, oh shit, here come daddy, oh shit. That fear alone, and hey, fear is wrong. We don't want to use that word, everything. One thing I think that, in my opinion, we got to stop doing, we're making our men baby soft. And we're making them so soft that they feel they have the right. They feel they have the right by some warped, disgusting privilege to do what they do to women that they'll do to a man. And we make them so emotional and, oh, I'm gonna protect my baby from everything. We make them so overly protected that we enable a conditioning that allows them to have justification because this person hurt my feelings. Because a lot of men I talk to today, as long as they feel like you hurt their feelings, they will destroy a woman, man. Yes. And that shit is disgusting to me because it's so easy to hurt a man's feelings today. It was never that easy to hurt a man's feelings. Okay. Now, go on. Yes, go on.
Let me go over some of the viewers' comments from Tanika Hill. She said that traditional tribes gathered around each other, such as the wrongdoers, reminding them of all the good they've done.
Yes, that's true.
And then from another viewer, we have, she's saying that I'm so happy that I made the time to watch this. This is a great discussion, baby gold. And then also, can you read some of these and then go into what it is that you wanted to comment on? And we need to know where we are with time, so on and so forth. So if you can read some of these for me.
Yes, so I have, and well, she didn't say whether I could say her name or not, but in the past, if a woman got hit, men came to defend her, but now they pull out a phone and record.
And I've said that too.
Mm-hmm.
I think, didn't I say that our last interview?
Yes, you said that the last interview. And then there's another one that says, yes, facts. Old Black grandpa refused to curse in the same room as women. And this from Melanin Rosie. These are just some of the comments. And there's one that said something about in the past. Okay, that's the one that you just read, Osa. There was a question earlier, Osa, that you pointed out.
Mm-hmm. I think I sent it to you.
Mm-hmm.
I think while you were talking, because one of the ladies, she had to get off of the call, but she wanted to know about Mind Ascension's views on women being respected as far as like hip hop or culture and music today. That was her question.
And that is okay. I'll let him address that, and then after he addresses that, we need to get back to Akamaye, and then we need to proceed with the format. So,
we're still in the format.
Okay, we are. Great. Then great. Brother Ascension, can you address that?
It's actually interesting that person asked that, because just recently on my page, I made a random comment on a picture of Hugh Hefner with Little Kim. And in the comment that I made, which I do this all the time because I want to provoke people to ask me questions and I want to provoke people to challenge me. So in the comment, I said, this white man pimped America with a smile and got praised. And immediately, I'm not sure what race she is, but I'm assuming that she's Black. Immediately, a Black woman came and said, well, Black men have ushered in the stripper, and Black men have ushered in the prostitute, and they have objectified the Black woman. And Black rappers are the ones that have objectified the Black woman. And immediately I had to rebuttal that with the fact that, first of all, strippers and prostitutes have been around for thousands of years. Not only for thousands of years, but in ancient Egypt, which I've already shown this already, the so-called prostitute, which, by the way, there was never a word like that. She was a consort of sexuality. The so-called prostitute, for lack of a better word, was considered as consort to the gods. Yeah. So she was actually on the same level as the priestess. Mm-hmm. So I said a couple things because a lot of times we ask questions and we say things, and this goes right back to what I just said. We say a lot of things and we feel a lot of things from not having any knowledge of anything prior to what we're being told today. Now, another thing I said in that same comment, because one thing I find interesting about the so-called Black feminists or whatever they would like to call themselves is that they have this convenience with giving men power over them when it's convenient. So now you're saying, oh, well, I only dress like this and I only have my butt like this and I have my breasts like this because Black men want me to do that. Which, by the way, is a form of saying that I have control over you. But then in the same breath, these same women will say, no man can control me. No man can make me do anything I don't want to do. No man, so on and so on and so forth. Now, on that same topic, I will say this, which I think all of us know. I don't care if you're wearing a garbage bag. As a man, my design by nature is to pursue you. So even if you stop showing your behind like you never did, by the way, because you didn't do it, even if you stop showing your behind like you do today, even if you stop showing your breasts, if you stop being overly sexual with the Cardi B's and the Megan Stallions and all of that, which, by the way, is a brand new level. We keep talking like this stuff is old. These are brand new levels that we're talking about. If you stop doing that tomorrow, what am I going to do? Turn gay? No. Now I'm going to chase the woman whose ankles are showing. And I'll be like, yo, bro, you see them ankles? Damn. So once again, we got men or males who are in Afghanistan and Islamic cultures right now, and their women are covered from head to toe, and they're still objectified, and they're still abused, and they're still raped. So when I hear women go, well, what about rappers that, first of all, let's go to the 90s. We don't even have to go back that far. If you look at the 90s, look at the Aaliyahs of the 90s, look at the rappers of the 90s. Number one, they did not have nowhere near the levels of tattoos that they have now. Number two, they dressed like the men. If we look at 90s rap videos, I challenge anybody. If we look at 90s rap videos, and 90s is my era, I love the 90s hip hop. If we look at 90s rap videos, first of all, the majority of the women dressed like the men. They had the baggy jeans. They had the big North Face jackets. They weren't doing what they were doing today. And guess what? We were still trying to have sex with them. And I'm sure there was still abuse and there was still the same aspects, because we're only talking about the 90s, which we were still imitating our so-called oppressor, or the one that is superior to us to this day. So when we ask questions like that are stuck in the frame of 2020 between 2015, which, by the way, came out of this extreme liberation, because let's not forget, the first time y'all let y'all titties hang in the 1900s was when y'all was burning y'all bras as a form of liberation. We didn't make y'all do that. Men did not make women do that. It was the white woman who said, girl, you don't need no bra. Burn that bra. Girl, you don't need to be married to have a child. Get that baby and leave that man. Why do we keep acting like men inflicted this stuff? Men did not teach women that liberation came with overt sexuality. Men didn't do that. The only thing we did is what you allowed us to do. So guess what? When 19 out of 20 women are shaking their ass now, well, guess what? I'm making it rain while you shake your ass. But if tomorrow those 19 out of 20 women are fully dressed head to toe, eventually I gotta be like, damn, y'all ain't butt naked no more? All right, well, I guess I like the girl in the pink long dress so I can see her butt through her sundress. It's the same concept, because it's about design. As a man, I am designed by my nature, by Mother Nature, to be titillated, stimulated, and aroused by the woman's body, no matter what state it's in. So when we talk about, well, what about the rappers who objectified it? Where the hell did they get that from? Where did they get it from? Was that their own process? Because I remember watching Nas videos. I remember watching Mobb Deep videos. There wasn't even any women in those videos. It was all guys in the hood, having pride in the projects and their thug life. There wasn't even any women there. So now that we fast forward to 2000 to 2020, and we got WAP and we got all of this butt shaking and stripper poles everywhere, we keep acting as if that was men doing that or men projecting that onto you. Once you accept it and once you allow it, and anybody that knows my teaching, what do I say, y'all? Men are stupid. I say it all the time. Because men are left brain analytical and logical. They don't pick up on certain energy because they're not thinking that far and they're not utilizing their right brain the way a woman does. So there's times where a woman can be upset, and just because she says she's okay, my dumb behind, as a dumb, overly logical man, I accept her words instead of her body language or instead of her energy, which I should be intelligent enough to pick up. So when you go, oh, well, I only do this because you like it. Well, first of all, I wouldn't like it if you ain't show me it. I would never saw it. Now that you're showing it every day, guess what I want every day now? More ass. Right. And you're going to show more of it now. Right. So Everything is a law of cause and effect. I deal with the universal laws. When we're talking about this subject, what are we really dealing with? We're dealing with the law of polarity. We're dealing with the law of gender, and we're dealing with the law of cause and effect. You can't claim liberation and use the symbolism of burning bras, the symbolism of children out of wedlock, the symbolism of slut walking. Come on, I could go into all this stuff. The slut walking thing. Did men start that? No. A white woman started that. Talking about be a slut, it's great. And then when a man actually treats you like the term that you've embraced, I'm crazy. I'm the one that's abusive. But you're embracing these terms as liberation. And then as a dumb man, when I say, oh, did you just call yourself a slut? Oh, hell yeah, I like sluts. Come on, let's be a slut with me. Wait a second. Me Too movement. Whoa, what happened here? I thought you was a slut. Oh no, I'm a slut means I'm empowered slut. Like, it's once again,
It's a lot.
I could go into many different angles with this.
It is.
And I'm giving it to you right now. I just want to address what that young queen or whoever it was stated about them, because I already went into this on my page. And it's very convenient that when women tend to adopt certain trends, because let's be honest, please, I wish we can really be honest. Men don't control anything. As Black men, we don't control nothing. We can't even speak against something that you like without being called an abuser, a chauvinistic, and all the different words that you have adopted from white feminists. So a lot of men are already so passive, or they're already so spiteful that they have this hate in their heart for either their mother, from a form of emasculation and different forms of abuse, which I agree with the sister who brought that up in here. I agree with her wholeheartedly, because there's sometimes where we get butt whoopings that we don't deserve.
Yeah.
And depending on the time frame of that life in that moment, we hold on to that whooping we didn't deserve, and then we hate our mother for the rest of our lives. And then we treat every woman we see as if it's that mother. Right. But go on.
Okay, now we're going to bounce down to Akamaye. And before we do that, on the subject note of rappers and so on and so forth, I remember those like Sister Soldier, and how she came out. I remember Queen Latifah. So we had positive imagery of female rappers. We did have some. Now, then we come along and we get into the females like Beyonce and woo, and now we just,
who's considered a global queen, by the way.
Yes, and even Toni Braxton. I've watched our female artists go from dressing in a respectful manner in the industry to now you might as well just come out buck naked. Okay. And so we have to expect that when we present ourselves in certain ways, there is going to be a reaction to us in certain ways, whether it is correct or not. But you have to look at, for every action, there is a reaction. Come on at it. Come on and talk about it.
Oh, as far as yes, there is cause and effect when it comes to human beings, especially those who can reason well. If there's nothing wrong with us, we can usually, I tell my children and the children that I work with, you can know what is right and what is wrong. Just ask yourself, do I want this done to me? Period. If the answer is no, back up. Do you want to be spoken to like that? And so I respond with, I think if we make the shift from we've heard do unto others, or I don't even say it like the Bible, because I say treat people the way you want them to treat you. Treat people the way you want them to treat you. And if we move from something that's just said, and like the brother said, no, it was not lived. And that has been the whole problem. And that's why each generation keeps rebelling, because you see the hypocrisy in the generation before. And it's like, what are we doing? So I think it's an incumbent upon us who can see that and know that and say, I have to be committed to showing you that I am going to treat you as a child or as an elder the way that I want to be treated, no matter what. Period. It's going to be hard because I tell them, sometimes that's where you get to see your true character. Can you continuously treat other people the way you want to be treated? Can you share all your food when you hungry? Can you share part of your food when you know you hungry and somebody else wants some of your food? Ask yourself, would you want them to share with you? If the answer is yes, try your best to build that muscle up in yourself. So to me, the solution is moving from something that we've heard over and over, but haven't seen people live. We've got to be the ones that say we're going to live it, so that.
Do you feel that there should be enforcement of it?
Enforcement?
No, because notice that you recognize the fact that we've been saying it for a very long time, but yet we don't embody it and we don't live it. How do you reach the stage of embodying something and living something despite the fact that you're hearing it constantly? You don't feel that there should be any enforcement to actually live it?
I have to enforce in myself the discipline it takes to show my children what they should do. Period. And if I'm not perfect, and I have to tell them that. I tell anybody that. But my job is to continuously discipline myself, my thoughts, my words, and my actions to reflect what I want to see put out into the world. And if I don't want you cussing at me, don't cuss it. If I don't want to cuss at you, no. If I don't want it being reciprocal, why am I going to put it out there? That's my thing. I think the solution for most anything, if there's an issue, you can usually find some level of hypocrisy going on. Somebody trying to treat somebody else in a way that they don't want to be treated. Whether
and
it's
all of this has to do with domestic violence and abuse, correct?
And it goes back to consent. If one